Hello, Frasat. Are you all set? Unmute कर ले बेटा.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine. And how are you doing?
Thank you.
ठीक है? चलो,
हाँ,
good. And you are at home, right?
Ji, I'm in the US actually, so
अच्छा.
it's 4 a.m. for me right now.
Oh my God. Chalo, good to have you wherever you are, but nice of you to join. And I see that Saklan, I don't see. He has also joined probably. And Subhamir, can you unvideo and unmute just to say hello?
Hi, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. And what are you
Thank
doing outside in the sun?
I am waiting outside my classroom. Actually, I have a class at 2, so I just thought to attend this lecture in the same room. I messaged Gohar about it.
Okay,
But I
good.
hope it's going to be better inside. I'll be there in like 5 minutes.
Oh, no problem. Everything is good to go.
Thank
So,
you.
Bavish will conduct your session. And, you know the drill. You will have 40 minutes between the four of you. And then there'll be Q&A. And Bavish will, of course, place the questions before you, if they're specific or general, and you can decide how to respond, right? Firasat, you know and all of you know how it works, right? So I will sort of zoom out and let you sort of work through it. I don't think Sharoon has joined yet. No, Sharoon isn't here. So, okay. Okay, Mavish, over to you. Okay, beta.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mavish, for doing this.
Thanks. So we are going to wait for Dr. Sharoon, of course. And as Dr. Roxana has already explained, and I'm sure you guys must have talked it through, that you have about 45 minutes between yourselves for this presentation. And then the last 15 minutes will be kept for Q&A with the audience. The rest of the netiquettes will be, of course, taken through by Gohar. So we'll wait for a bit and let's wait for Dr. Sharoon to join us.
Can you hear me? जी मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
Dr. Saklan, can you hear me loud and clear? Hello, Dr. Saklan.
जी hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Dr. Saklan, can you hear me? Hello, sir. Dr. Saklan. Hello, Dr. Saklan. Can you hear me now?
Introducing Research Methodology 2025, your ticket to mastering research, brought to you by the Center for Learning and Teaching at Forman Christian College University in collaboration with National Academy of Higher Education at the Higher Education Commission and the United Board. This isn't just another course. It's built around the renowned Vitae Researcher Development Framework, covering everything from deep subject knowledge to personal effectiveness, professional standards, and real-world impact. We are immensely grateful to our experts who have graciously offered their time and expertise in the spirit of knowledge equity. These experts are among the leading voices in their respective fields. And yes, it's 100% online and totally free, wherever you are in the world. Whether you're a postgraduate, early career researcher, or simply passionate about better research, this course is for you. Join us and be part of a movement for knowledge equity. Sign up now and unlock your research potential.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in the 22nd webinar of the Research Methodology course. So after exploring a range of theoretical foundations, research methods, data analysis techniques, tools for writing, for data analysis, and details of publishing and reporting research outcomes, we have now reached the final stage where we are going to discuss how to grow as a researcher, how to become stronger as a researcher. These things are not really, mentioned in any books. They don't teach you about the essentials of being a good researcher. But today, we are privileged to bring forward a panel of experts from Forman Christian College University. We are honored to have Dr. Farasat Jabin with us. She's an associate professor, department chairperson for mass communications at Forman Christian College University. She did her PhD as a Fulbright scholar from Clemson University, USA. The next panelist is Dr. Subha Mir. She's an assistant professor, Department of English at FCCU. Dr. Mir earned her doctorate degree from Louisiana State University as a Fulbright scholar. Then once again, we have Dr. Saklan Abbas Shah. He's a professor, Department of Physics. He holds a PhD from GC University, Lahore, and a postdoctoral fellowship from the University of Washington. And lastly, we have Dr. Sharon Hanouk, who's the chairperson of the Department of Statistics at Forman Christian College University with a PhD from Case Western Reserve University as a Fulbright scholar. So this panel of experts, they are profound researchers. They have developed themselves as strong researchers, and today they are going to share tips with all of you how to navigate through this journey of research and how to emerge stronger at every phase. So without further delay, I'm going to request Gohar Ayub to take us through etiquettes, and then the floor will be open for discussion amongst the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mavish. I'll quickly go over the etiquettes. You're all requested to please rename your Zoom accounts to the name of your university first, and then your name afterwards, regardless you're joining through YouTube or through Zoom. Please make sure that you enter your credentials into the certification sheet, which is shared already. Please note that we are in the process of disseminating certificates, and a minimum of 8 to 12 working days are required for that. Once the session is concluded, please note that the chat will be disabled for the first 30 minutes, and we'll open it at 12:30 at 1:30. And please be mindful and sensitive while using the chat. All these sessions will be recorded, and these recordings will be added to the CLT YouTube channel for free access. That's it from my side. Over to you, Dr. Firasat. Dr. Firasat, please unmute yourself.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Gohar. Looks like I am the first presenter here. I thought maybe Dr. Mir will present before me, but that's okay. I can go first. Let me begin by sharing my screen. All right. Is it visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. All right. So the title says that tips from pros. I must say that I do not consider myself a pro. I believe I still have a developing publication profile. However, for my presentation, I'm going to share some experiences that I believe are going to be helpful for our participants here. Well, I do not have anything significant here on slides. I'm just going to talk about some of my experiences, like I said, so a few tips that I have learned in my publication experience. So I would like to begin with this idea of trajectory of research, because this is something that I learned in my doctoral studies, and this is something that my professor told me in the beginning, and I believe it's important for early scholars to know right off the bat that what should be the trajectory of their research. So I believe the trajectory should be whatever paper you have. It can be your class assignment, your term paper, or anything you write. Let's say for a presentation, you come across a conference opportunity and you want to write something about it. So it begins from a paper. So once you have a paper, your paper proceeds to presentation, a conference presentation that further proceeds to publication. So that should be the trajectory: paper, presentation, and publication. Paper, presentation, and publication. And then I learned this from my professors, that if you have written, let's say, 4 or 5 papers on a particular area, then maybe it's time for you to start working on your book project. So now I would like to talk about this idea that can you all see my screen? Can you all still see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, great. So as for the presentation of conference presentation opportunities and publication opportunities, I remember when I was doing my master's at Punjab University, I used to have this question that how do I know what are conference presentation opportunities for me? How do I know that what are prestigious, respected platforms in my field, and what are the platforms that are not predatory and I should go and present my research? And I think it is really important for us to know in the beginning that whose work influences us, and who are the scholars we quote most in our research, because identify the platforms where those scholars are presenting their research and you would like to join the same platforms, because eventually you are going to join the same conversation that those scholars are having. So again, it's important for scholars to identify right off the bat that what are the platforms that they should be joining, and what are the scholars whose work they find influential in their field. And to my mind, presenting at conferences, especially for earlier career scholars is important. So, I believe that in my case, most of my publications actually have stemmed from conference presentations. I have some publications in my CV for which my departure point was a draft that I wrote for my class assignment or maybe as a term paper. So almost, I believe all of my published papers are actually earlier drafts of my paper presentations. Now, for spotting publication opportunities, again, conferences are important here. I think it is important for scholars to identify what are the leading academic platforms in their area, in their field. For example, I am a scholar in the field of communication studies, and I know that in my field, some leading platforms include International Communication Association, also known as ICA, National Communication Association, NCA, International Association for Media and Communication Research, which is known as IAMCR, AJMC, Association for Education in Journalism and Mass Communication. So in every field, there are some platforms that are considered to be the leading platforms in that area. I know MLA is big in English. Similarly, APA is another platform for scholars in psychology. So, and these forums, they are also known for their annual convention. So I talked about ICA, International Communication Association. In my field, they're famous for their flagship annual convention that draws almost 4,000 to 5,000 scholars every year. And considering the magnitude of the conference, one can say that this platform actually leads the discipline. So in conferences, when people go and present their papers at conferences, they find networking opportunities, not with scholars in their field, but also with publishers. Well, those of us who have been to conferences, especially big conferences, we know that publishers come to conferences, they set up their stalls, and that's your opportunity to meet a publisher, discuss your work, and discuss possibilities for publication. So, well, again, as your senior professors as well, I think it's really important for scholars to get ourselves to talking, talk to your peers, talk to your professors, and discuss with them what can be different publication opportunities. With that, it's also important to get professional memberships of leading academic platforms in our area. So I just discussed some platforms that are significant, that are important in my field. Again, it's important for scholars, especially for early career scholars, to identify what are leading platforms in their field, get their membership. If you get a professional membership for that platform, it's a very good CV line. Not only this, if you get their professional membership, you actually join their listserv. And once you get the subscription, once you join their listserv, you start getting information on different opportunities. So let's say you want participant, you are doing your research, which is based on survey, and you want participants, and you want people to participate in your study. You can use that listserv, or you can use their subscription services. You can also get to know about different call for papers, call for book chapters, different publication opportunities, even job opportunities as well. So if anyone has any question about how to join these listservs and how professional memberships can be helpful, I am happy to talk about this during Q&A. With that, I would also like to talk about this idea that several people believe that, well, maybe, so we actually get a lot of, we get drafts. I come across this question from my MPhil students a lot, where they believe that they are not confident about their writing. So I tell them all the time that it's okay to have shitty drafts. That's what my professors used to tell me, that no one actually, and excuse my language here, first drafts are always considered to be shitty drafts. So do not hesitate. If you have written something, do not hesitate to send it out, and you will have ample time to perfect your draft, or you will have ample time to revise it after reviewers and editors' feedback. Another tip that I wanted to share is related to timeline. So if there is a scholar who is concerned about timeline and who are on fast track, and they are concerned that they want to have their publication out, let's say in coming few months, in 6 months, or in a one year time period, then my suggestion would be to consider the journal's frequency of publication. So let's say if a journal publishes 10 issues in a year, it means they will get you the response within 2 months, or maybe within a month. So in that case, I don't think it will be a good idea to approach journals that are publishing just one issue a year. Again, if you are on a fast track and if you really want uh, uh, a result soon, then go for journals that have more frequency of publication. Well, lastly, I would like to talk about the idea of maintaining a balance between reading and writing. Now, I am a kind of scholar who spends way too much time on reading, and I always have this feeling that maybe I'm not ready to write. So I would suggest, especially to earlier career scholars here, to maintain a balance between reading and writing. It's really important, and especially regularity is the key. So let's make a name that you have to write a page, or let's say 2 pages every day. It's important. Even writing a paragraph is also okay. If you write just a paragraph every day, let's say 300 words or 400 words, that should also serve the purpose. So maintaining a regularity and maintaining a balance between reading and writing is really, really important. So these were a few tips that I wanted to share based on my experiences, from my publication experiences. I would now like to hand it over to Dr. Mir, who is next presenter.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farasat. Hello and Assalamu alaikum, beautiful humans. This is Mir, and I'll be talking about tips and tricks regarding research and research writing. So I will be addressing some points that include both BS level, master's level, or PhD level researchers, right? So a few things that I want to talk about, and they're very general tips and tricks, nothing too specific, but also something that you don't find in books usually, and I wish somebody was there to tell me about those points when I embarked the research journey. First of all is selecting your supervisor, of course. A lot of people go for people, especially in undergraduate. I have seen students sticking to the professors only they have taken courses from. And I highly encourage my students to actually go explore the entire department, and you might find someone whose research interests align with you in a better way. Also, in graduate studies, I believe temperament is another thing that you need to consider. Different supervisors have different way of dealing with their supervisee or leading the research process. And what kind of supervisor are you looking for? You should be very clear. Are you looking for somebody who is going to be strict about deadlines? Are you looking for somebody who values your bond between the writer or the researcher and the supervisor, so on and so forth? So while the research competence and big names are important in the field, but while selecting your supervisor, you're also supposed to be very careful and considerate of those things. Another important point I want to highlight, and these points are coming from my experience with my students and supervisees and academic world overall. I have seen that a few students actually do not follow email etiquettes. Whether you are writing to your professor or supervisor or a journal editor, you are supposed to follow email etiquettes. It is supposed to have proper salutation, proper wording, as well as do consider the wait time when you send an email. 5 working days is supposed to be the wait time for your emails before you get a response. So make sure you're respecting somebody else's time, as well as you're respecting your own in terms of emails, in terms of communicating. If you want them to respect your work, you're also supposed to respect their time that they invest on reading, reviewing your work. Working etiquette, and that takes us to our next point, working etiquettes. So what happens is that a teacher is usually a very busy person. They have their own research, they have their classes, personal life, and more than one supervisees they need to provide review for. So each chapter you're supposed to give at least 2 weeks to review to your supervisor. And that applies to all levels. Again, BS, MPhil, PhD, all levels, at least give 2 weeks to review. For that, you're supposed to meet deadlines. So you cannot just, if you, for example, you're given one year for masters, you cannot dump entire work on the professor in the last 2 weeks. That is not fair. So you're supposed to have proper timeline that I'll discuss and proper work plan. Of course, it is very common saying, but a lot of students don't follow it. You're supposed to avoid plagiarism and you're supposed to follow AI policy. Please do not think that teachers, supervisors, or editors of journals don't know when you're plagiarizing or using AI. Please be honest about it, follow the policy. And once you have committed a mistake, please be honest about mistakes. Nobody in my career so far has ever been like, the way the person cheated and plagiarized and boldly denied was so impressive. Never. Nobody does that, not even a single soul. So please don't do that. First of all, you're not supposed to make mistakes. Of course, you're not supposed to plagiarize or use AI. But if you end up, sorry about the electricity, we are in Pakistan making it work in all the difficulties. So even if you end up making those mistakes, please be honest about your mistakes. Talk to your supervisor about it. If you're having difficulty, speak to your supervisor and see how you can amend that. A lot of students, I have seen brilliant students going to waste because they are too stubborn to admit their mistakes. And nobody tells us that. Everybody's like, oh, maybe if we don't accept, we'll get away with it. But trust me, it doesn't happen like this. You're supposed to, make amends. And another thing is that a lot of students are like, okay, we are going to fake over data, maybe masters. Then I'm going to go to, let's say, Russia for my PhD. And I'm going to, work there. Nobody's going to know that in my master's, I faked my data or I plagiarized or submitted somebody else's work. Please take my word. This world is very small. And no matter where you go, your actions are going to follow. Your consequences of your actions are going to follow no matter where you go. So please be honest about your work. Next is deadlines. You are supposed to have a proper work plan. One thing that I want to highlight, and I always tell my supervisors, is that your first draft is not your final draft. A lot of students just, they waste all the time. In the last month, they submit their first draft and expect me to sign on it. Whereas I tell my students in advance that your first draft is where the actual work begins. So you're supposed to have a work plan that includes multiple revisions. So your deadline or your work plan includes multiple revisions. So by the time there is actual departmental deadline or journal deadline, you have a final draft that has gone through multiple revisions, and you are supposed to take that into consideration before you embark that research journey. Another important thing that not many people mention is self-reward to avoid burnout. It is very real. Yes, a lot of time we just want to get done with it, and in the middle of that we forget taking care of our mental and physical health. I think I want to highlight that you're supposed to stay physically active, take walks daily, take care of your mental health. Be very, very precious about your time. Invest it only where it's worth, and avoid the burnout. And how I do that? After celebrate each milestone, celebrate each small win. You have submitted a chapter, you have submitted the final journal review, you have defended your proposal. Small wins, but celebrate, self-reward, relax. So you recharge and get ready in order to enjoy the research process. I think Dr. Farasat has given great tips about publications. I do want to highlight one aspect, is that a lot of my students I've seen are on the fence about publishing from their research when they are writing their thesis. I have seen that, and I would recommend that when you're writing your research, follow, of course, the departmental protocol, but at the same time, try to get at least two papers published from your research while you're working on it. Usually journals take at least 1 to 2, good journals take 1 to 2 years to get published, right? So by the time it would actually come out, you would have actually defended your thesis, hopefully. And the good journals, I'm not just talking about any journal. So it's a 2-point, the last point has 2 parts. First of all, of course, try to get published when you're writing your thesis, because what happens, a lot of students, when they only focus on getting the research done, it keeps sitting in their laptop until it's too old to get published, So after 5-10 years, somebody else has worked on it, amazing technology has emerged, and the amazing work that you did, nobody got to read about it because it was just sitting in your laptop because you were too lazy, you were too busy, you were too cautious about getting it out. Whatever the reasons are, I highly encourage that try to get published when you're working on your research, because that is the prime time when you're engaging with it, you're in the middle of it, you can do the reviews, you can make the changes right away, and you can submit it right away instead of coming back to it after you have closed the entire file years after. It's way harder. Second thing, and the last point, is that enjoy the research process in the sense that please do not fall prey to those scams where there's this publication is a rat race. If despite all your efforts you're not getting published, it's okay, it's just a matter of time. Great researchers take time to get good publications, right? So it's okay, brace yourself, be easy on you, enjoy the research process. Once you have a good research, automatically it will be published. Please don't get into that rat race where you just want to publish, where you fall prey to those scams, the journal fees, and all those tricks where people portray that you can get published and you can get ahead in your game. Those things don't work. You only learn a lesson out of that. Having said that, thank you so much. If you have any question, please feel free to ask in the Q&A session. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Suklan Shah, and I'm a professor of physics at Forman Christian College University. My previous session was about scientific writing and reading, and that was quite comprehensive, in which I touched upon almost every aspect of scientific writing and reading. I want to mention a few points that are related to that session, and I call it like file and folder management. Now, this may seem insignificant to some because file management and folder management, it may seem insignificant unless you have to go through the hassle of, go through the trouble of finding a needle in the ocean. Just imagine that you got a library, a collection of like 200 research papers, and suddenly during your write-up, you feel a desire that you want to refer back to certain particular research paper, but you are not sure about in which folder that paper is situated, and what was the name and what was the title and who are the authors. Then it is not easy for you to read and scan all through all these research papers and all that collection. So, and I have gone through these phases, so that's why I'm telling that even there are also certain tools online available that you can manage your folders and files in a very efficient way, that searching the research papers becomes very easy and efficient for you at later stage. So always, first of all, I'll always try to name the research papers, your research articles that you will be referring to. You must name them either with the complete title of those PDF files, those articles, or you can give them certain specific keywords so that later on, when you want to refer back to those articles, you can just search them quite efficiently and find those articles. Then you can also create different folders that are specific according to the importance of different sections of a research paper. Like almost all research papers have an abstract, an introduction, materials and methods, results and discussion, conclusions. You will see while you will be reading an article, and I mentioned earlier that you will find that you will be reading one research article number of times during your course of research. You will be reading them during your initial synopsis write-up. Then you will be reading certain papers during the experimentation, the experimental process. You will be reading it again during your data analysis and data interpretation. And then finally, when you will be writing your own research paper. So one research paper will be referred to by you a number of times. So it is better that whichever article you find very important and significant according to certain sections of your own article, you should put them in the respective folders. Like you can make a folder for the significance of abstracts, and then another folder for introduction and materials and methods. So later on, when you realize that you want to refer back to certain particular article for that specific importance of that abstract, and you can just refer back to that section. And other thing is that while you are reading articles, always annotate them, take notes. It is better to take a print out and read from the print on the paper than reading from the screen. Reading from the screen gives you strain on eye, so it is better to read from the papers and always put a pen in your hand and keep highlighting, keep underlining certain important stuff, because remember, later on when you are going to write your own research paper, actually it will be the jargon, it will be the technical and beautiful language of those research papers, of professional papers that you're reading now. You will be referring back to those, that particular jargon and terminology and verbosity, and you should be writing them in your own words by giving proper reference. But the technical terms and the technical jargon, you will understand that academic writing is quite different from a normal and routine English language. So always try to underline certain important paragraphs and important beautiful sentences, and even you can create certain word files in which certain specific expressions and impressions and sentences and paragraphs that are very, very significant, you find very significant for data analysis and data interpretation. Keep creating a library, and that will be very, very helpful for you later on when you will be writing your own paper. And then when you are writing your thesis or writing your research paper, mostly we see students just take one file and keep updating it again and again and again. It is always good to give different names to different sessions. In the first session, you may call it the file 1, and in a second significant revision, you may call it file 2, file 3, file 4, so that during the course of your write-up, if you lose your file, there is a certain major blunder in your write-up, and you want to refer back to some previous version, and imagine that you don't have that previous version and your current file is totally messed up, it is distorted, it is corrupted. So you will be at the verge of losing your entire hard work and struggle. So it is always better that when you are making significant modifications in significant sessions, always rename the file, always save it with a different name, file 1, then file 2, then file 3. And there is another way that while you are writing different sections, abstract, introduction, materials and methods, you can create different files. One word file for abstract, another word file for introduction, and keep modifying, keep improving them, keep polishing them again and again. And ultimately, when you realize that all of those sections of that paper have been polished enough, then you can merge them together, and it will become a final, the ultimate file that will be ready for submission. And always use reference management tools for the bibliography, for the references, because the rejection rate from the journals is usually very high, and on the average, at least 2 to 3 times we have seen that the papers are rejected from 2 to 3 journals on the average. And every journal has a unique format, and mostly they are different from the different journals, from the other journals. And imagine that you have formatted your references according to a particular journal A, and later on when your research article is rejected, and now you have to go through all that effort and all that hard work, useless hard work of changing all those commas and full stops and putting italics and bolds in the reference formats. So when you use reference management tools like Zotero, EndNote, and Mendeley, when you put all those libraries and files, you connect them, and ultimately, when you want to submit to some new journal, it will be just one click away. You just press one button, and your entire bibliography shall be modified according to the new format. So these are some important and significant things that needed to mention. If you have any further question about scientific writing, I'm here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Seems like it's my turn now. So I hope my screen is visible to all. And am I
Yes,
audible?
sir. It's visible, and
Sounds
you're
great.
also.
So this is a researcher's development framework. I'll come back to this a bit later. First of all, I want to talk about some social and psychological challenges researchers generally face Certainly, there are so many, aspects in human life, but there are certain challenges which are very common to all of us. Uh, as I see research, I think of research as a process. So in this process, there are a lot of challenges that we face. One of the biggest challenge that we face is the peer pressure, that our peers are moving ahead with their life once they graduated with masters, or they're already done with bachelors. They're doing well in their professional life, but you're still in the university. So one of the challenges is the peer pressure, and certainly please know this, that carrying out research is a job. So if you are doing research, then it means you are already working on some goals. And certainly, as I always talk about it, that research is not a piece of cake for everyone. So if you have opted for research, then I mean, we all have challenges in all our lives, even if the professionals, they have the challenges in their life, and same is true for the researchers. So if you are doing research, you have certainly opted for separate goals, and this is the path you have to walk to. So if there is some peer pressure, certainly this is something you can overcome by talking with your fellows about it, and talking with your supervisor about it, and setting your goals right. If you are getting a lot of stressed out just because of the peer pressure, it means your goals were not really where you really wanted to head out. Second thing is that comes from the, I mean, especially in our culture in Pakistan, here there's a lot of pressure from our family. Our family, if you are single, then your family always like you to get married after a certain time point. There's like, oh, what are you doing? You've been working on your research for so long. Now it's time to get settled in your life. Then they keep asking you the questions, how much time is left, how much your degree is left. And this is something I always advise the families and the researchers, that do tell your families that this question is one of the most annoying question that we always face, that when you are going to be done. And know this, I mean, as I said, number of times, research is a process. It's gonna take time. You have to walk through it. And it's very important to let your loved ones know that you have to go through this process to really get to the point where you have chosen to be at. So this is, since that's saying this all, I always say that research is a process that requires sacrifice. This is sacrifice in a lot of different ways, where you would be spending your unlimited number of hours in your lab, in your office. Sometimes you will spend, nights there in the lab. You are running your experiments, and you have to go back and, run your experiment and do some checks at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. and early morning sometimes. So you will be, many a times you will be sleep deprived. And many of the researchers are always sleep deprived. And, you know, uh, this is a journey that you have to walk sometimes alone. Yes, there are supervisors to support you, but supervisors, as Dr. Subhamir said, that supervisors are very busy people. And a lot of people over depend upon their supervisors. And they think that their supervisors are the ones who are going to guide them on each and every step. I think this is a wrong expectation from the supervisors. Supervisors are there who are the guides. Yes, they are there to guide you, but you should learn to be more independent. And when you learn to be independent, that's when actually you will, take your research forward, and you will be able to contribute to research more effectively, as well as going through the process of research under the supervision is a training. So when you are learning this process, you are actually getting trained to supervise more people, to be an independent thinker. So that's the goal of the research. Goal of the research is not that you just read something and regurgitate on some in some talks that you present or something. So it's very important that you learn to walk alone sometimes. And sometimes when you are doing research, you are so lonely that you will be sitting idle and you will be like, your experiment is not working and your research is stuck at so many places. And you feel that you will always have the self-doubt that, well, have I chosen the wrong path? Am I doing it right? And there's one more self-doubt that always come once you complete the research, that I've talked with a lot of people who have done their PhDs, and they say that, oh, once they're done with their research, they always think of one important aspect. Well, I shouldn't call it important aspect, but this is the thought that always occurred to them, that well, have I done significant work that is worth the PhD? They have this self-doubt that comes in. Please know this. You are the one who have walked that path. You have walked that way. And since you have walked that way, it's relatively very clear to you. It's very easy for you because you have already walked that way. But the people who haven't walked that way, it's still very tough for them. And this is something, we always have a challenge with, because since you know things so clearly, everything is so clear to you while you're talking with it, when you are in your final defense, that you sometimes overlook a lot of aspects, and people will ask question and you will say, this is too obvious. But actually this is not obvious for everyone. This is obvious to you because you are the expert now in this area. So there are ways that you should understand that you can overcome these challenges. Yes, there are challenges of loneliness, there are challenges of peer pressure, there are challenges coming from the family, there is over dependence on the supervisor, and there's so many other aspects to it. I think Dr. Subha has clearly mentioned in her talk as well that you should self-reward, and I would highly advocate that. One of the biggest problem with the researchers is that they are so much determined into putting the deadlines there, that, oh, after on Saturday I'll finish this, on Monday I'll finish this, and they make so tight deadlines for themselves that once they, and know this, deadlines are always never met. It's rarely you will be able to meet those deadlines in the research. And when you do this, you set the hard deadlines for yourself, you are going to get stressed out. You will be anxious. You will be, feeling that, oh, I'm not worth it. I haven't done enough effort to it. And there will be a lot of psychological issues that can happen to you. So one of the best way to deal with this, please have soft deadlines for you. Secondly, take some time out. Go out for walks. Go out for walks regularly. If you are good, go to play some sports, please do that. Take some time out, have breaks for yourself. You cannot work 365 days. You should make sure that you spend time with your family, you spend time with your friends, you spend time with yourself, where you reward yourself. Go out and have a cheat day when you are sitting by yourself, have a delicious, scrumptious cakes, and have a cup of coffee with you. Take some time, watch a cricket match. Take some time, do activities which are not research, and do activities that make you happy, right? So this is something that's very important. If you are taking appropriate breaks at appropriate number of time, you will feel that you will be more productive as compared to continuous work, and continuous work. So these are some aspects regarding social and psychological impacts I wanted to talk about. And second thing I want to talk about, I know the time is brief, I'll be very quick on this. As I've been continuously saying that research is a process. So if you can see this shared screen where I have shared this research development framework, where we have 4 different domains of it. And this is something that every researcher need to work on. It's knowledge and intellectual abilities, it's personal effectiveness, research governance and organization, and engagement, influence, and impact. All these 4 aspects are equally important. A lot of people are of the view that when they talk about research is all about, going into the lab, doing those experiments, getting the results, or carrying out some surveys and getting the results and publishing it. this whole process, though it seems very simple, it's not. It requires you to have knowledge and intellectual abilities. And you will see in all those four aspects, a lot of things, actually, majority of things are something that are manageable by every single individual. We have to just spend some more time on this. These are not something which are heavily gifted, skills that we all are blessed with. We all are working on different levels. We all will have different paths to walk and all different, intellectual abilities to deal with. So when you talk about knowledge base, then you should know your subject knowledge. You have to have a clear-cut understanding of the research methods, theoretical knowledge, and practical applications. And, you have to, be able to better use your language to write, and academic literacy is also very important out there. This is something that you can gain by attending regular seminars, where this is one of the series that you are attending. So this is something that helps you broaden your knowledge base, but along with that, it also impacts that what research area you are working with. So in that research area, you have to have a better understanding of the terminologies that are being used, better understanding of the different study questions that you have. And then there are cognitive abilities, where you should be able to analyze, synthesize, and critically think about and evaluate. And, the skills like problem solving should be important. Certainly, we all are not blessed with every single ability out there. So, but we can always work on and improve to be the better in that. So cognitive abilities are something that can also be learned, but these are things that are learned through practice. So these are the things that can be learned by doing. So once you're doing these things, you will have better abilities to comprehend to these ideas. And then creativity, where you are actually having inquiring mind, where you are able to question that, you have intellectual insights about some aspects, and all these things comes with a lot of reading. A lot of people, they they think that reading is something that's not important. I'll just read a paper, I'll skim through it, I'll just read the abstract and read the conclusion, and I'm done with that. It's very important that you have a mind that inquires, and it's a lot of reading that is required to this, a lot of good observations that are required to this. You have to think, uh, and this whole process is a time-taking process. This is not something that you will learn right away. This is not something that is inbuilt to us, all of us. So, in this process, you can enhance your knowledge and intellectual abilities. And second important thing is your personal qualities. That is very, very important. In personal qualities, your enthusiasm, that how energetic you are about your research topic. Are you happy what you are doing? A lot of people pick up the projects, they really don't belong there. And they end up, not really finishing the whole idea, because that's not where their heart is. So pick up some place where you have, a lot of energy. You feel good about it. You feel energetic about it. It requires perseverance. And when I talk about social and psychological effects of or aspects of research, I have talked about this, that you need a perseverance. It's a time-taking process, where you have to sit alone, where you have to spend time to actually synthesize the whole information and reach a certain conclusion. This is where your integrity is important. This is where your self-confidence, your self-reflection and responsibility is important. A lot of people, this is a point where a lot of people over depends upon their supervisor, that, oh, well, supervisor is someone who should motivate me. No, it's not the supervisor who should motivate you. It's you who should motivate yourself. It's your personal goal that helps you motivate yourself. And that's where you will be able to finish the task that you are working. Self-management is very, very important. And I say it again, that these are the aspects that we all can work out. We all can work out, and we all can figure it out and do our best into it, where you need preparation and prioritization of the tasks. You need to learn to manage your tasks and set your priorities, set your bounds that which is more important and which is less important, and do the more important tasks. You should not go with the tyranny of urgent, where you have you complete all the unimportant but urgent things, but you keep delaying on important things. So, it's more of a self-management where you have to learn the time management. You have to learn to your responsiveness to change, because you have to have a good work-life balance out there. And similarly, there are aspects of professional and career development. And one other aspect that I would like to highlight, and then I will end, but is about research governance and organization, where your management is important, where your professional conduct is important. Research cannot be done without money. A lot of finances, a lot of funding is involved there. You should learn to write grants. You should learn to write and earn the fundings from the organization. It's all about a lot of people think that they will just do the experiment in the lab and they will be gone. They will be done with this. But you should understand that research requires money, and you should be very good at financial management. Pick up items that are important. Sometimes you have to prioritize between equipment that you need to buy, and you can seek help from another lab out there. So you have to look at infrastructure and resources along with that. So it's kind of like a whole framework, and there are so many aspects a single researcher has to keep the balance between. So all these 4 domains that are out there, you have to keep the balance between all. And this is where I'll end. Thank you so much, and I'm open for questions now.
Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you for sharing your personal insights from your personal research journeys. I feel that we have really, touched upon many different aspects and challenges that researchers face. Now, I was going through the comments to scan through the questions. So there are a few things that I want to clarify to the audience. There is no set number of publications that you have to target, or you have to target in a year. It is all, your own personal choice, your personal interest in your research, and also half the battle is won in your own brain and in your own mind. If you don't have enough faith in the research topic, you personally feel that this research topic is not going to bring out any novel findings, then you have lost that battle in your mind, and you're now cooking a recipe for demotivation. So don't do that. So first of all, you have to have genuine interest in your research topics. We have many questions who have from the participants, where the audience are asking that what's a right gap time between when the research is being conducted and when it should be published. So it varies from one discipline to another discipline. In some disciplines, data gets redundant after 2 years, and it is not suggested to publish it after that. So if you're sitting on data for more than 2 years and you haven't published it, then there are very meager chances for journals to accept that research based on the timelines only. Then there are questions related to, if we don't have a supervisor, then are we able to publish? Of course, you're able to publish. The supervisor is not there to handhold and, make you write about things. In fact, nowadays, trends have really changed. I don't know how things were 10 years or 15 years ago, but nowadays, supervisors don't want parasitic behavior. They want the scholars to be independent. They want them to navigate through their research and bring about the outputs that they themselves had decided during the proposal writing phase. So if you're a researcher who's working on a proposal and you've mentioned in that proposal that a high impact journal article will be published at the end of 3 months, let's say, then it's your responsibility to bring about that deliverable. Then we have questions related to breaking the writer's block. And here I would like to forward this question to the panelists that, even for a person like me, I also encounter a writer's block sometimes. So what are some tips? Although you guys have touched upon that, you have shared plenty of tips, but if you have to, just project 3 strategies, top 3 strategies to break the writer's block, what would that be?
Can I? So I know Dr. Firasat might want to share as well. So I'll be very quick. So Dr. Firasat, I actually have already touched upon this earlier as well. To break the writer block is by writing. You just start writing one line at a time. And that's where you will be able to, get into the sync. I always say, fake it until you make it. So you have to, fake it. I mean, write something daily, and then you will be able to break it. And over to you, Dr. Firasat. I know she must have wonderful tips about it as well.
Thank you, Sharon. Yes, I came across this situation when I was working on my doctoral dissertation. So I had to meet a deadline. I was working under time pressure, and I had writer's block where I felt like I couldn't write at all. So what has worked in my experience is that leave that project for some time. So, and then go back to it. So it can be a couple days, a week, even a couple of weeks. And instead, you can start working on another project. So leave that project for the time and then come back to it after some time. And this is something that has really worked in my experience.
Thank you so much. I am just going through the rest of the questions because we don't have the liberty to extend this webinar. We have the next webinar scheduled at 2 o'clock, 6 minutes from now. So I'm going to take the last question, which is, how can one reduce the gap between their initial intention and the final written output when revisiting their writing after a break? Yeah, it's a very valid concern that when you, and especially in the light of the strategies that our experts have shared, that you leave writing or you write at least a sentence or 2 sentences every day. But when you're in that flow once again and you go back to your writing, you realize that this is not exactly what you wanted to produce. It does not resonate with your research objectives or the flow of the research. So how to minimize that kind of discrepancy? Who would like to take that? Dr. Saqlain Abbas, do you have anything to say about this?
Okay, so I think that more time you give to scientific writing, more better will be the quality of your product, of your article. I think that is the only thing that I know, because as the time passes, you must have learned a number of new things that will be contributing to your writing. Your first draft is always a half-baked draft. It is not a good one. But as you give it some time, as you start with a cool mind, and after taking some rest, when your mind is fresh, and after including many other aspects in analyzing data and interpreting them efficiently, you give it more time and it will generate a very good output regarding the quality of your writing.
I would like
This is
to
what I
add-
understand your question.
Sure. Yeah, Dr. Firasat.
I would like to add to this, Dr. Mavish. Well, you see, revision is an unending process. So there is no end to revision. You keep revising the same draft, even when it's, final for copy editing and when it's with editor. So, and maybe you are adding new perspective to what you have already written. So I must say that this happens with even mature, established writers as well, that they keep revising their drafts until the very last minute.
Yeah, one more thing I would like to add, that a lot of people, they while they're doing their research, they forget their original research objective, and that's where such kind of gaps happen, that where they started off with and where they ended up with. So it's very important that always revisit your synopsis. So if you're
Yeah.
revisiting your synopsis and going, and that will help you keep more focused on your research and your actual goal that you want to achieve the day one. And I think while you are doing research, there are a lot of temptations. Oh, while I'm doing this, why not let me do this as well? Let me try to find some more about this separate aspect, which will distract you from your research. So it's always a good idea, go back to your research synopsis where you have very clearly written your objectives and stick to that. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sharon, Dr. Firasat, Dr. Saklin Abbas, and Dr. Mir. Well, this was really relevant, and more than improving the content, to grow as a researcher, I think every researcher needs to develop and foster some habits, which include critical thinking, reflection, sticking to your research plans. As Dr. Sharon said, that there, and Dr. Firasat also emphasized that there is no end to improving your research. And if you keep on improving it, then you're really not doing anything good for yourself. The only segments that require extreme care, focus, and attention are your research objectives and research questions. Once you have decided on those, now you start the writing journey and keep on building the argument, but keep it aligned with your research objectives and research questions. With this, I'm going to close this session because the resource person for the next session is already in the waiting room and we have to start the next session. So please join us in the next session, in which is the final session in this webinar series. And thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Roxana, do you want to say something? Conclude the webinar?
No, I'm just very eager for Helen to, she's waiting. So thank you so much.
Thank
all
you
of
so
you.
much, everyone.
Thank you.